Service. This is Jonathan Blaze with the weekly weather briefing for Central North Carolina. Our briefing runs from today through this upcoming Sunday, October 30th. So let's go ahead and get started with the weekly briefing. Today we should experience another fairly quiet and seasonable fall weather day with some lingering actual low clouds in parts of the area near the coastal plain and down to the South Carolina border. After those morning clouds burn off, we expect bright sunshine today and a really nice fall weather day with temperatures probably near, actually maybe a couple degrees above normal. That's thanks to high pressure that's over the region. That area of high pressure will continue to control the weather largely tonight and into tomorrow, Tuesday. And then a cold front that's across the Central Plains today. You can see in the upper left panel here on the surface maps. That front will push east over the next couple days, and by late Tuesday, it'll be approaching the mountains, and by Wednesday morning, it'll be crossing the mountains and moving across the Piedmont of the Carolinas. That front will move offshore, and then high pressure again will build into the area for Thursday, Friday, and even into Saturday. And as we head into the weekend, there's a fair amount of uncertainty with the storm system that's likely to develop across the southern plains and move northeast. It's not clear exactly how all the details with that system will evolve, but there's a potential for some unsettled weather to spread into our region late in the weekend and early next week. Still lots of the details that need to get resolved with that forecast. And to be honest, a lot of different ways that forecast can evolve. So not exactly sure how that will all shake out in terms of how the weather map will look and the sensible weather over our areas. But in terms of key points for us, again today, expect generally dry weather today and tomorrow, which with some sunshine. There will be areas, some dense fog that's likely to develop late tonight and persist into Tuesday morning. That is likely to be across much of our area, perhaps most widespread and maybe densest in the coastal plain and across the southern tier, but everyone should be on the lookout for some fog for the morning commute. And as that front comes across our area, some scattered showers are possible late on Tuesday night and more likely on Wednesday morning. Those showers are likely to be fairly scattered and hit and miss. As is typical this time of year with these weather systems and these cold fronts, the precipitation tends to break up over us in many times. And so we actually expect more rain across the Ohio Valley Northeast and also along the Gulf Coast. So we're apt to be in a little bit of a minimum in our region. So don't look for a lot of rain, but a few folks, lucky folks, could get 1/10 of an inch of rain. Again, late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Dry weather with a little bit of cooling temperatures behind that front for late in the work week. And then again, a lot of uncertainty as we head into the weekend and early next week, into the weekend and early next week for Halloween. So looking at the accumulated precipitation forecast for today and Tuesday in Central North Carolina, no rain is forecast. For Wednesday, you see this little bit of splotchy area here in South Carolina and even in North Carolina mountains. This is associated with that weakening front that is moving across our area. And again, with more precip well toward north in the Great Lakes and other chances of precip down to the south. So we'll be kind of in this minimum in between. If anyone was likely to get some light rain with that, I would expect it maybe to be across the southern tier of the southern Piedmont, Sandhills, even the southern coastal plain. Even in those locations, so the rainfall amounts will be quite light, most likely 1/10 of an inch or less. Dry weather returns for Thursday and Friday, as you can see in the lower left panel here of the graphic. And then for the weekend, for Saturday, and most of this in our areas for Sunday, there is some light precip painted in over mainly western areas. And again, that is associated with this storm system evolving in the southern plains and lower Mississippi Valley that will approach. Indications are that system may be slower to arrive, and that would tend to reduce the amount of rain on Sunday and maybe even into Monday as well. The 7-day total for precipitation is shown in the lower right panel. Rainfall amounts across all of our area during that 7-day period are quite light, typically 1/10 of an inch or less. Looking at potential for severe thunderstorms for the next few days, no precipitation really is expected today into Tuesday. This area of thunderstorm potential and enhanced risk to our west and from the mountains westward is associated with that front. Those storms will be weakening as they move east on Tuesday, and we'll get the leftovers of those on Tuesday night. And on Wednesday, there's just this area of general thunder highlighted across the south. I would be surprised, to be honest, at this point, if we get any thunderstorms in our area. Most of that will be restricted to Georgia and Florida, but there's just a teeny tiny chance of an elevated thunderstorm. Should not be a severe weather threat at all for Wednesday, so no need to have any concern about that, at least at this point. And then the excessive rainfall outlook, again, light precipitation expected for the next 3 days, so no concerns for flash flooding through midweek. The tropics, after a period of quiet, have kind of perked up a little bit over the past handful of days. There are 2 areas of disturbed weather the Hurricane Center is monitoring. One is not too far from Bermuda. That system now, I believe, has a 40% chance of developing into a tropical cyclone. And another weaker, less likely to develop area of disturbed weather is just northeast of the Bahamas and the island of Hispaniola. Both of these systems are, as they kind of drift off to the west and northwest, will have a very hard time getting much closer to the mid-Atlantic or southeast coast, given a broad or a upper trough that's located off the coast. So we don't really expect any issues in terms of adverse weather in our area. Although if you do go out to the beaches this weekend or later this week, there could be maybe a little bit of enhanced surf in part from these systems. The 8 to 14 day outlook, which now includes the period from Halloween into the first week or so of November, shows a pretty good probability, a 60% chance of above normal temperatures in our area. And rainfall chances are likely to be close to near normal, maybe slightly above normal. But to be honest, the pattern doesn't suggest a high confidence of a great deal of precipitation during this period. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Looking at the drought update, this graphic is courtesy of the State Climate Office. This is from last week's drought assessment. A new one will be worked up here in the next few days and be publicly released on Thursday. But new this past week was some abnormally dry weather or dry conditions has been introduced and enhanced in the southern Piedmont, also in parts of the coast and coastal plain. And now some moderate drought is showing up here in the western mountains, southwestern mountains of North Carolina. For most of us, it's been fairly dry really for the past 10, 14 days, but it's not too atypical for this time of year in this part of the world. So looking at a summary for the weather for this week, some nice autumn weather with above average temperatures for the next few days. It could be some areas of dense fog late tonight and on Tuesday morning. A cold front will bring a chance of some spotty rain showers late Tuesday night, more likely Wednesday morning, and most likely across the south. Don't look for a big washout, and those are not likely to interrupt any outdoor plans, I would imagine. Seasonable and dry weather returns for late in the work week into the first part of the weekend, and lots of uncertainty for the latter half of the weekend into Halloween. If you're really concerned about Halloween, it would look at this point that temperatures are likely to be near or above average, but still not quite certain exactly on the threat or how much of a threat there is for some precipitation. Although it looks like there will be at least a risk of some precipitation on Halloween, and it's going to take several more days for us to kind of resolve and add some fidelity to that forecast. So come back and stay tuned and listen to subsequent forecasts and briefings from us looking into the important holiday coming up early next week. That's it from the Weather Service here for our weekly briefing. Thanks for joining us. I'll stand by for questions.